Major breaking news. President Donald Trump has announced he will be attending the oral arguments in the big tariff case coming up at the Supreme Court. This is unbelievable, and we're going to talk all about it in a second. But first, please do subscribe if you're new. So this is a big deal. Big deal. The last president to attend the Supreme Court, I believe, was Bill Clinton back in 1997, when he was going through his whole thing, right? So this is unbelievably unusual. Some of the earlier presidents did. Thomas Jefferson attended a lot. I believe Andrew Jackson did, weirdly, but it's very uncommon for presidents to actually go and listen to oral arguments. I'm going to play you the clip quickly about President Trump talking about it, and then we're going to discuss. So here's the clip of President Trump basically telling everyone he's going to be there.
Disaster for America. That's why I think I'm going to go to the Supreme Court to watch it. I've not done that, and I had some pretty big cases. I think it's one of the most important cases ever brought, because we will be defenseless against the world. Okay?
The case involved here is unbelievably significant, and there's a bunch of unusual things that have happened to this lead up, and I think this is just another one, right, in this whole chain of events, and I think it kind of points to what might be going on here. So obviously during Liberation Day, do you remember where they unveiled all the tariffs, right? We had all the different countries with all different rates, and I think it was a base 10% rate per country. So they did that under a 1977 law that basically grants the president the ability to impose tariffs for national security concerns. And there were a lot of people arguing at the time, and I think there's actually a good legal argument here that this was actually an abuse of this statute. The reality is we don't have much of a national security concern against like the Penguin Islands, right, for example. Now, I think there's actually some bend here. Again, I haven't read like the 400 pages of it, but my understanding is, and Polymarket, and we'll talk about the betting odds in a second, seems to kind of agree with this, because otherwise the market wouldn't be where it is. But there is some kind of bend here, because what has happened for a long period of time is Congress gives pretty vague directions about presidential and administrative powers. And that leads to things like the ATF just saying something just illegal, and now half the people are felons, right, in the pistol brace example. And this is kind of another example of that, right? Like, if you're not going to spell out exactly what national security concerns are, I can just say national security concern is lack of manufacturing, let's say steel manufacturing, right? So now it's justified for me to impose a tariff. And I think that actually holds correctly in this case. So this is unbelievably important, right? Because American manufacturing, if we don't have American manufacturing, we are opening ourselves up to massive national security concerns. That's the main argument for the tariffs, in my view. I don't really think it's economic. I don't really even think it's to raise money for the government, because for a number of reasons, it's not going to make a huge dent in anything, unfortunately. I wish I'm a deficit hawk at heart, so I wish it would. I wish you could say, okay, this is going to solve the deficit. It's not. Just the reality of the situation, it's not. But what it will do is it'll incentivize people to move manufacturing back to the U.S., which is a national security priority. Currently, America basically doesn't have a vibrant manufacturing scene. We basically don't. It's mostly dead. Most of the stuff we get is from other countries. We do make a lot of it ourselves, especially food, various food products. But in terms of like making a t-shirt, like this is Lululemon. I have no idea where this came from, but I assume it's China. I assume it's Vietnam. I assume it's not in America. And I assume they don't have economic incentives to make it in America. And that's the case with lots and lots of products, right? Apple, this microphone, this desk, this green screen behind me. Yes, this background is a green screen. And allowing that 10% tariff will make Americans more competitive. You have to pay Americans more. You have to ship all the stuff over here for them to even be able to process it to begin with, right? Let's say the fabrics, right? And everything like that. So we're already at a big disadvantage. And of course, the other countries are tariffing the hell out of us for the same reason. So there is a legitimate national security argument here. But the question, being presented by the court is, can you just kind of take this vague statute and apply it to whatever you want? And there's a good argument that yes. So this is an unbelievably important one. To some degree, and this is a separate topic, I actually kind of want them to say no. Because what we're trying to do with the whole Chevron doctrine decision and these various decisions is start curtailing that administrative state. So to some degree, it would actually be good. It's kind of a win-win either way. But essentially, a federal court struck this down, and then it was later reaffirmed in appeals. And the Supreme Court, very unusually, took it unbelievably quickly. It was almost a snap take up. They immediately said, we're going to hear this case. And they fast-tracked it. And that's why a lot of these pro-gun cases, for instance, that we get big wins on, take forever to get through the system. And this was rushed through because of the importance, because of the national security importance as well. So Polymarket has it right now, and I'll put a screenshot up here, has it right now at 42% chance of a Trump win. Now that's not as good as 50-50, but it's better than 0%, right? So I think there's some real play here. And President Trump going is an incredibly important symbolic moment, right? The president himself going to the Supreme Court to hear oral arguments, first of all, is some sort of deference to the court, but it actually shows how deeply he wants this to succeed. And a lot of people have thought this about Trump, that he's just doing random stuff. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't have much of an ideological bend. That's totally bogus. Totally bogus. Totally bogus, and this shows it. The tariff stuff, and by all accounts, everyone was saying, this is going to crash the economy. I don't know if you've seen the stock market recently. The economy is doing kind of fine. But everyone was fear-mongering over this, and it's worked out fine. And this is one of the marquee moments of the Trump presidency. So Trump himself going to the Supreme Court, I pray, is a sign of things to come. Hopefully he'll be there more. Hopefully he'll be there more actively, because he knows how important this is. He knows how important the Supreme Court as a body is himself. I mean, he's appointed a third of the court, right? Hopefully we get another one or two. Hopefully from retirements. But yeah, what this signals symbolically is that President Trump knows more than anything how important the Supreme Court is, how crucial it is in implementing the American First agenda, to be sure, but also all the other policies that I care about, like this channel, right? The Second Amendment. So I think largely this is a phenomenal thing. Phenomenally great news. We want our president as involved in the Supreme Court fights as we could possibly get, and this signals that Trump is going to get more involved. So anyway, that's all I got to say on it. I just saw this and I really thought I had to talk about it. I know it doesn't touch fingers necessarily with the Second Amendment, but it is interrelated. Right? If you ever watch The Four Boxes Diner, which is my favorite program channel, he always talks about, Mark over there always talks about the sort of the spider web of American law. And it is true, if you interfere with one piece, it has a ripple effect on everything else. And to some degree, this symbolic move is the same thing. It'll have a ripple effect on all the cases to come. But anyway, if you're new here, please do subscribe down below. Hope you did enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one.